Well, hello, everybody. Welcome in on a Thursday. Hey, it's May the 1st, Longshore McKnight here, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy in association with our good friends at yellowhammernews.com. Very hard to believe, already May the 1st.
Yeah, which means that I have got to, among other things, try to research what the birthstone is for the month of May, because
I know
we'll
it.
talk with Marianne over at Marguerite sometime soon. But it
Yep.
also means this, and you can kind of start getting ready. It means here we are in May, and the temperatures outside are getting close to 90 degrees.
Uh-huh.
That the NBA season is only like 4 full rounds away from being over with at some point. The NBA season, I think, only has another month and a half or 2 months of playoffs before. I don't know.
Hey, what's the hurry? I mean, as good as these games have been, and I'm a little groggy today, Barry. I got to tell you. I mean, I've already gone with the Mego cup of coffee today. No little dainty, regular coffee cups. Mego cup today after the staying up a little late last night for the T-Wolves and the Lakers. And we don't want to jump ahead of ourselves. We'll get into that a little bit later into the show. There probably some TV executives crying this morning. I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to give too much away. But
we've got to update people on the world of sports. Lakers are out. Lakers are done. They're history.
Yeah.
No LeBron. No Doncic. They're done. NBA playoffs roll.
I just can't play any defense. God, he's terrible on defense.
But anyway, ain't no question. Yeah. Ain't no question. That's because he's fat and slow. But he can score. So also, the Rockets beat the Warriors. They're going to go to a game 6 of that May 1st. And we're still in the first round of the NBA playoffs for most of these.
Some of you folks out there might remember the first round was the best 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
At one point in time, the NBA said, I think we can make some more money. Yeah. We're leaving money on the table. Let's go best 5 out of 7 or whatever. 4 out of 7.
Best 4 out of 7.
Yeah.
Which is what the first round of the playoffs is in the NBA. Here tonight, in the month of May, we've got game 6, first round. Game 6.
Yeah, love it.
First round.
Another double
header. Pistons, Nuggets, and the Clippers. This is a bit much. I guess I could go ahead and keep looking and go forward and everything. If the NBA Finals goes to a game 7, the finals I'm talking about.
Yep.
If the finals go to a game 7, I think that game 7 would be on June the 22nd.
Man.
So we've still got almost 2 months left.
Beautiful. Yes.
So you get through with June, and then NBA season's over with. Baseball still got a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you're only, 2 months away from football.
That's right.
So there we go.
You see that? I love it because you only have to really stomach, 2 months of baseball?
By itself. Yeah, nothing but baseball.
Yeah. Is the NHL still playing then? I'm not sure, but I think they are too. But yeah, we got to go another 2 months here. And I have no problem with it. As you've heard me say before, I kind of enjoy it, particularly the playoffs. And it was, a lot of people weren't expecting what happened last night to happen, but the Lakers are out. But there are still a lot of other big market teams still in the playoffs. So, it all's not lost, but there are some others that maybe you don't know about, like Cleveland. and Oklahoma City and some of these others. We'll get into that a little later in the program today. Barry, I found it interesting. We've talked about it a lot here on the program. I've heard it brought up nationally. We actually touched on this program 2 days in a row, and looks like we're going to do it again today. Our friend Kevin Skarbinski, who has been a writer in the state for a long, long time with, I think the Birmingham Post-Herald and
Birmingham News for a while.
Birmingham News. I believe he's with AL.com now. He's kind of doing a lot of his own stuff as well. He writes a piece about a subject that, well, we talked about yesterday and, well, I've really talked about for the last couple of days involving Texas. I kind of started out with, hey, do you really want Texas in the league? Are you having buyer's remorse? A lot of these teams maybe, I kind of liked it how it was. Now we got a team swooping in here and kind of taking over. And his piece, of course, is about what we talked about yesterday. Texas spending between 35 and 40 million on its roster for the 2025 football season. That's a number I just don't think anybody can compete with.
I haven't read the Skarbinski piece, but John cited yesterday the Houston Chronicles article from Kirk Bowles.
And he cites that, obviously. Yeah, he cites that a lot in this piece.
So this is kind of the originating thing. The Texas football roster budget, football roster only, somewhere between 35 and 40 million dollars. But the point needs to be made, and I think it makes it in the piece, that it figures to be a one-time expense because after the House settlement and with the move to NIL payouts through corporations and the university itself, the school's going to phase out its collective, and everybody will, in favor of the school handling it. So at that point, it would be limited to $20.5 million for everybody. But right now, Texas's football roster is really good. I kind of got them right now, for me, way early as my early pick for the national championship this upcoming year. A lot depends upon Arch Manning. But you get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for.
Year,
yes, you do.
Next year, when everybody's kind of evened out, Texas is still going to have a lot of those same guys. But it's going to be, according to a report sourced in here, the source says it's just unsustainable. The next season after this year, the whole world will be back to reality.
Well, I get what they're saying there, and I hope that's true.
Oh,
but Texas likes to win, and there's a lot of schools like to win, but Texas schools like to win. Is the NCAA got enough on their enforcement staff to make sure Texas isn't giving a player a little bit more under the table?
Well, that's always going to be an issue. For some schools, it's always been an issue, whether it's money under the table or boat rides or free menswear.
And the reason I bring that up, Barry, because there's a very well-known famous writer here in our part of the country that likes to bring up that there hasn't been an official NCAA investigation into a particular football program since 1990. Did they not have one in 2010? Did they not have an official investigation that allegedly somehow miraculously, nothing to see here, move on? But
that's called lack of evidence. I don't know about miraculous, but if you don't find anything, what are you supposed to do?
My point exactly. You got to dig a little deeper, look a little harder. Maybe that staff wasn't in full force, but I don't want to get off on that tangent.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry it was brought up.
Yeah.
My bad on that suddenly being broached in the program into something that John doesn't want to talk about.
Certainly don't want to bring that up, but some schools obviously have been playing by the rules. So says one writer. Are you going to have to maybe start bending them?
No, I kind of like the idea of everybody being equal,
Oh,
everybody being able to pay the same. It says back to reality, but it still doesn't feel like reality.
no.
I think 70% of the 20.5 million, whenever it comes, is going to go to football, 20% to basketball, and 10% everybody else.
Well, 10? Did they ask my thought on that?
With women's basketball,
10.
baseball, and all that kind of stuff, 10% of the 20 million. That still doesn't feel like reality. It really doesn't. It still feels like, it's a kind of a aberration from what college athletics was supposed to be. And I don't blame the students for that. I blame the administrators and the TV networks and everything. Has any collegiate athletic administrator in the history of collegiate sports ever told the television networks no? Did Bear ever do it? Did Bear ever say, literally say, or Mal or Bockrath, or anybody ever really say, no, we're not playing at 11 o'clock in the morning? Did anybody really tell anybody, no, we're not playing on a Thursday night? Or was it just kind of understood?
If my memory serves me correct, one of the networks, I believe it was ESPN, wanted Alabama to play at Mississippi State on a Thursday, and Mal stepped in and said,
okay,
not
all
happening.
Right. So there was that one time in history where somebody in college athletics told the TV networks, no, we're not going to do that. Other than that, it's like 170 million to 1 now. So, that's what's gotten it all going, is all of the television money, particularly after 1984. And that's the world we're going to live in. But right now, and again, like the Houston Chronicle article says, we're going to be back to reality.
Well, I hope.
Not this year, but next. I hope so, too. I'm in a college environment every day away from here. Well, sometimes, John, make sure it feels like a college environment here.
Oh, hey, yeah, sure. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, punch and cookies. But it's just different than it ever has been. And again, it's not wrong. It's just different out there. And sooner or later, we're going to get back to what college athletics was really intended to be: development of players, construction of rosters, installation of the ideals of sacrifice and hard work and all that kind of stuff.
I'm with you, Barry.
This year, if this year is the last year of that, the last year of unreality, I say hallelujah.
In terms of $40 million rosters, I hope you're right. And obviously it's, looking to be that way. I still believe there's going to be some under the table payouts to get some type of an advantage. But I still think, Barry, as long as we've got the transfer, people are moving. The development of players, I hope, but I don't think it's going to be to the extent that it once was. Depth on your roster. Man, I want to play. I'm out of here. I'm going. I still think you're going to see that, particularly in basketball.
I think so, too. It's taken so many shapes and forms. There are starters on group of 5 teams, starters, good players, 1,000-yard rushers on group of 5 teams that are going to, say, an SEC team or a Power 4 team right now. They're being told that, oh, man, you could be the man here. We'll give you that chance. Here's all this money, for some group of 5 guys, $250,000, $300,000, $400,000, $450,000 a year. And they'll end up being 3rd string or 4th string. But they'll have that money. As far as development goes, that ain't going to happen. You're going to be scout team. You're going to be, standing on the sidelines with your helmet in your hand. But you're going to get that money.
Mm-hmm.
And, you're going to be an emergency case, an insurance case in case, the top two guys blow their knees out or something like that. That's not the way it was supposed to be.
No, it's not.
Oh.
It's going to be interesting. When we get back, we were talking about Texas and their payroll for this year.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of alluded to something I want to get into a little bit deeper. We kind of touched on it last night on television. I want to get your thoughts about that as well. Also, John from Wetumpka's thoughts. Wait a minute. I don't want to hear about John. The Braves lose yesterday to the worst team in baseball, and now they got probably the best team coming in to, what's the name of that place over there? Truist Park. Yeah. Let's hear some Braves talk, John.
How dare John's first commentary on the chat line be something that doesn't have anything to do with the Braves losing yesterday? Now, they win the series in Colorado, worst team in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
They lose. That was an early game yesterday. I was listening to it as I was working and bebopping around. 2-1 game.
Yeah.
Colorado wins it. John would not have lasted 5 pitches in that game. If John ducks in, takes a look at it, hey, what is this? 2-1, 6th inning, John keeps on walking.
I couldn't imagine having a baseball game on just in the background. I had Fox News on in the background most all of the day. So I don't know. To each his own. To each his own, I guess.
Yeah, I ain't doing that.
When we come back, more discussion this morning. Later today at the bottom of this hour, Jason Caldwell of Auburn Undercover will join us. The Tider Insider Rodney Orr at the top of the next hour, brought to you exclusively by our friends at the Destin Connection Seafood Market, 3750 Norman Bridge Road. A lot of other things we're going to get to today. And I always want to know your thoughts and opinions on our River Region Straw chat line. It's up and going. You can get in on that right now. A lot of people communicate amongst each other. You can communicate with us too. Also, our email inbox brought to you by Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, out at 8163 Vaughn Road in Pepper Tree. Check it out at Longshore McKnight at gmail.com.
We're underway on Thursday. We are underway in May of 2025, episode 173. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, Cambrian Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speeds associated with their installation of the latest generation of ultra-dwarf Bermuda grass. Cambrian Ridge offers a fully stocked pro shop with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Cambrian Ridge for tee times and more information.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
You're not buying sticks, stems, and pine cones. You're buying premium long-diddle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River Region, full of color that will last all season long. Kenny has locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn, and no order is too big or too small, from a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load. Pickup is available, or your order can be delivered. They can even spread your pine straw if you like. So call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw needs. All right, welcome back in. About 20 minutes past the hour here on this Thursday. Barry, we're talking again about Texas. Our friend Kevin Skarbinski wrote a piece about it today. And looking ahead, I've already heard some chirping about it. Now, I know it's talking season. I get it. And I think you're going to hear a lot of this at media days in July. But Texas seems to be the team to beat in the SEC. Of the 16 teams that play football, well, all the teams play football, but 16 teams, Texas seems to be the early favorite. I believe they'll be the favorite in Atlanta in July. Georgia seems to be the team that they'll face off in the SEC championship game. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. Absolutely.
I think so. Our friends at Saturday Down South have written some pieces about this, how they think it'll stack up. Also, Connor O'Gara, our friend, a piece about quarterbacks. Wanted to touch on that a little bit later today as well. But what's the team that you think could challenge them? Mine's LSU. They have a very, their quarterback's got a lot of experience. Their wide receiver room is through the roof. I know defense has been their issue in the past. I understand they've done a good job shoring up that defensive line area through the portal. And I like how their schedule sets up. To me, LSU's a team that could maybe sneak up and get to Atlanta.
You know, if I had to look at a team that might be sneaky, I'm not going to pick Auburn. I know about, what about Auburn? No, they're still a little bit away. But I'm going to pick the Florida Gators.
Okay.
I'm going to, they finished strong last year. I love their quarterback, DJ Lagway. Out of all of the people who in the quarterback room who kind of really sprang out of nowhere, Lenora Sellers for South Carolina and DJ Lagway from Florida. With Nussmeier, he kind of was a known commodity and everything, but I got to go along with Florida. Their schedule is a ton better than it was last year. Still not easy. Of course, it's not easy. But goodness, like I said last year, not only did Florida have the toughest schedule in the SEC, they may have had the toughest schedule that there's been in the last 20 years last year. People were hopping all over Billy Napier, but he finished the season strong, got a few good transfers in there, lost a little bit, but I'm not saying they win it. I'm not saying they go to it, but if I had to pick somebody, out of the weeds, out of the sticks, I'm going Florida.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. When I was asked about it last night, I went with LSU. Lindsey Bonner, who I work with on TV, picked Alabama, which kind of surprised me. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Florida, though, Barry, man, they're lucky they're dodging Gus Malzahn in game 2 since he's no longer that's South Florida, not Central Florida. I get my directional Florida schools mixed up. They're playing South Florida, not Central Florida. My bad. But
South Florida was the school that Tyler Buckner.
Yes, him? I do.
Tyler Buckner started at a quarterback for Alabama.
Yep.
And
see, right then and there, you should have known there was an issue with Milroe, but nobody wanted to listen.
Yeah.
But after that, Barry, at LSU, at Miami, Texas, at Texas A&M, that 4-game stretch is going to be, that starts mid-September, runs through about mid-October, an off week in there. That's a tough stretch for Florida. I think we're going to know what they're made of. Of course, they got Georgia on their schedule, as always, at Ole Miss, Tennessee as well. I think their schedule is what's going to bite them. You're right. I think
it's better.
Play better. I think they're going to have better personnel. I just think their schedule is brutal. Same thing for Alabama. I get it. They did not have one scholarship football player into the portal. That's great. And they got depth. I mean, I'm hearing a lot about the depth, and, they got kind of things on the same page. But there again, their schedule as well. A first-time true starter at night in Tallahassee. And I'm saying at night in Tallahassee because that's really when I want the game to be played.
It's not official yet. No. Normally, we have found out more often than not that when John spends the spring and summer talking about something he wants to see happen in college football in the fall, usually ends up happening. It's mad.
Yeah, I'm going to say the game's at night until I hear otherwise. It's kind of like, that's the way it happened until you prove me wrong. I should have been an attorney. No, that's the way it happened. That's the way it happened, jury.
Yeah. It's like that Jamie Foxx stand up when when guy is being grilled in the evidence room or whatever. He says, "Did you do it?" And Jamie Foxx says, "Do you have any video of it?" And he says, "No." "No, I didn't. No, I didn't do it." Of course I didn't. Exactly.
Yeah.
No. Hey, is there any proof that John said those things? If not, no, I didn't say it.
No, I didn't. I don't know if Wisconsin's going to be any better, but that's no walk in the park. But it's the meat. It's at Georgia. Got to go to Missouri. Got to go to South Carolina that everybody's hyped up about. LSU coming to town. Oklahoma gave them fits. It seemed like Oklahoma's given Alabama a lot of fits over the years.
Yeah.
Whether it's a bowl game or a regular season game. And then, of course, Barry, that little trip down to Auburn at the end of the year. So I don't know if Bama can be that team. Their schedule, I think, has a lot to do with it, as it does with just about everybody. We talked about it earlier. Texas has a schedule that, well, pretty easy.
I'm going to tell you this about Texas' schedule. And John kind of hints around that, and I know he'll get to it immediately. But somebody colluded in the SEC office on Texas's schedule. Texas, their lawyers, they lawyered up. They got agents up there, and they're telling the SEC, it's like, I'll tell you what. We'll go in your little league but here's the deal. First couple of seasons, this is what our schedule is going to look like in football. Yeah, I want you to look away from a few things that we're doing down there, and maybe in 3 or 4 years, then we'll play by the rules for everybody else. Here's what our schedule is going to look like. And they had already gotten it worked out. They've already gotten guys saying, okay, when we get in the SEC, this is what our second year is going to look like. We're going to have a big whoop-de-doo opener against Ohio State, and we'll play it on the road. That'll get everybody hyped up and everything. Win or lose, man, doesn't matter. It's the first game.
Yeah.
Then we're going to hit up our fans with San Jose State, UTEP, and Sam Houston.
What a trio of games.
I would rather play Whitney Houston than Sam Houston.
I'm
at
with
Florida, you. Oklahoma, so the first month, that's when Texas has got you, and they know they do.
And they're off after that.
If they win that game at the Horseshoe, then they have already won the first month of the season.
Two of these,
they ain't gonna that San Jose State game and all that ain't gonna matter. Everybody's still gonna be buzzing about that win against Ohio State, so they can rest the starters and get Arch out by middle of the third quarter, get some of the depth established and all that kind of stuff. And the SEC had to have played a part in that. I mean, come on, at Kentucky.
Well, Bear, we mentioned it earlier this year. The two of the teams in the SEC that made the playoffs, Texas and Tennessee. I find it very coincidental that both of those schools are the only ones that played Arkansas, Mississippi State, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt.
That
Texas
ain't coincidence.
And Tennessee are the only two teams in the league that they played all four of those teams. The four worst. And they made it to the college football playoff, and they're both playing those four teams again this year.
That's, again, Texas was in a position. Yeah, we'll play in your league. We'll be glad to do it. Yeah, but here's what it's going to look like. Otherwise, we ain't doing it. We're going to tell you what, our second year, we'll take Mississippi State on the road. We want Kentucky on the road.
Mm-hmm.
We'll play Georgia. We get it. But we're going to play them late in the year. You know what it means? We're because if we win that Ohio State game, we're good for September. We need to have something late to kind of get things going. That's what it's going to. There had to have been some collusion.
Yeah, and I hope there's some different scheduling. I know we've talked about 2026 a lot today. Hopefully scheduling is a new part of it as well. All right, when we get back, we're going to head over to Auburn and check on the Tigers and what's going on with them athletically. Jason Caldwell, Auburn Undercover, going to join us.
He's going to be with us in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
You're not buying sticks. Located just 8 miles north of Alabama's state capital, Capitol Hill features 3 18-hole championship courses. With more than 1,500 acres of golf and nature, the pure magnitude of this facility is amazing and allows each course to be drastically different from the others. Capitol Hill also features an innovative 360-degree driving range, 400 yards in diameter. Capitol Hill offers a fully stocked pro shop with the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Capitol Hill for tee times and more information.
Introducing Budweiser Zero. 0% alcohol, 0 grams of sugar. Full Budweiser flavor. A refreshing alcohol-free brew that tastes like the real thing. Budweiser Zero. 0 alcohol, 0 compromise.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
All right, back at it here, about 28 minutes to the top of the hour on this Thursday. We always bring in our friend Jason Caldwell, Auburn Undercover. Hey, Jason, good morning. How you doing today?
Okay, guys. How about y'all?
Doing really well. We watched the NFL draft with interest. It was a while before an Auburn player got drafted. It's been a while since anybody got drafted in the first round from Auburn. Will next year change that?
I think there's a chance it will. Obviously, I think you look at Keldrick Falk as the first possibility there. I thought there was a recent thing going, hey, projected draft picks, and he was 6th or 7th potentially for as a number 1 pick in terms of odds going into the year. So I think there's a good chance that Keldrick will be a first-round guy next year. But I think Xavier Chaplin, the transfer from Virginia Tech, is a guy that could potentially be a first-rounder. And then, you start looking at the other guys. I mean, who knows about an Eric Singleton that comes in from Georgia Tech? I do think he has the ability and the speed to do that. But then you start looking at the sophomore group, the ones that were freshmen last year. And obviously you look at Cam Coleman and Malcolm Simmons. And but then you look at Jay Crawford on the back end of that defense too. So I think there's some candidates for the first time in quite a while.
Yeah, I think so too, Jason. I think we're going to see more Auburn players selected earlier in future NFL drafts. And, the harsh reality is, I guess, what we lived through with Brian Harsin is kind of showing up in the NFL draft. He wasn't a recruiter, didn't get the talent. It showed on the field, and it showed in Green Bay last week.
Yeah, and I think it kind of continued the trend too. Some at the end of Gus's time as well. I mean, I think there was, we talked about it ad nauseum, the lack of offensive line, and you can point to everything else offensively and go, well, they didn't have this, and this. In the end, the lack of offensive line recruiting has been as big of an issue because they've still had some defensive guys, drafted. But you look and you go, I did this, and I think we talked about it last week, and I'm going to keep bringing it up. Since Ben Grubbs was drafted in 2007, Auburn's had 8 offensive linemen drafted total. That's 18 years ago. 8 offensive linemen drafted in 18 years. that's not good enough at a place like Auburn to go and be competitive against the Alabamas and Georgias of the world. And that's the spot that you have to get better at if you want the rest of the offense to follow suit. If you want wide receivers and quarterbacks, you better start getting better offensive linemen, and they're doing that.
I want to go off on a tangent here. I want to try to drum up a crowd if I can. The seedings they have been released for the NCAA Men's Golf Championships. Auburn's the defending champion. They're the number 1 seed coming in. And I think it's in about 10 or 11 days, they actually get to host the first round at the AU Club. If I've covered golf tournaments, collegiate golf tournaments, but, they're nothing like a regional or anything like that. That seems like if you're a fan, if you can get out there, man, that is just seems like that would be the best golf ever to me, is an NCAA regional.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, you look at it and start talking about, kind of how these things work. And obviously Auburn being there is a big deal. I mean, defending national champs, and you got a ton of talent, but you look at Texas A&M and UCLA, SMU, the home of Bryson DeChambeau, but then Georgia Tech, Oregon. There'll be some really good teams that come to the AU Club, and it's a unique opportunity. It is. You get to follow, 5 Auburn golfers. What happens is that they'll kind of have seedings, and the pairings the first day will be the top 3 teams in terms of seeding. They'll play together, and you'll have 1 player from each of the 3 teams in 5 straight groups. So you'll have 5 straight groups of Auburn players come through, and they do what they did last time, which I would expect. They flip the 9s at AU Club and have the 9th hole, actually the 18th hole, which basically has an amphitheater. So the 18th hole would basically is a green that has a big amphitheater, plenty of room for people to stand, sit, watch, and watch people come through. So it's a fun experience. I enjoyed. I'll get a chance to be out there. And you can do some walking if you want to. Walk and watch guys. You can go walk, or you can wait and have people come through. But it's a fun time.
Yeah, it is. I'm more of a waiting for people to come through than following them around the course. I learned that at Augusta many years ago. That can make for a long, tiring day if you're trying to hop around and see a bunch of folks.
What's the what are the ingredients? What has Coach Kleiner done with that program? How's he gotten there?
I think we were talking about it. We just talked about it from a football perspective. I think the same thing holds true no matter what sport you are. The most important thing is talent, and they've gone out and recruited really well. And you look at continue now. It's we talked about this a little bit with him yesterday. Some of it is learning how to deal with the personalities on the team and knowing how you can treat people different. I think that comes with experience too. I think as he's gotten more experience as a coach, he's learned which buttons you push with which player, and some of that comes in the recruiting process and personalities. But Jackson Coyven and this group is a talented group, and so you recruit talented players and then put them in the right spots, and then kind of figure out how you deal with each one, and then you let them go play.
Any idea, ballpark, what is NIL like in college golf?
I think it is. He mentioned that yesterday. He said, look, a lot of the NIL talk gets a bad rap because of the people who make this whole bunch of money. I think NIL in golf is probably similar to most of your average baseball players, where, hey, it gives them a little bit of money, but it helps them to pay the rest of their scholarship off. Whereas they used to go, well, your partial scholarship, you're on 40%. Well, that means you got 60% of your scholarship still left to pay. That could be a good chunk of money if you're from out of state. So now you go, hey, it helps maybe finish off your scholarship, gives you a little bit of money to spend. I don't think you're looking at what you're seeing, even for the greatest players. I don't think you're looking at what we're seeing in basketball and football, but I do think it's enough to go, hey, take care of yourself and give you a little bit of money to be here and to be part of it. And look, that team won a national championship. They brought a lot to Auburn in that run last year, and my guess is they'll have a chance to do it again this year.
That was my next question. How does that shape up with those, with their chances next year?
Yeah, I think obviously the number one overall seed in the country. It's a team that, once again, I think, Nick brought it up yesterday. We were talking to him. I think in golf, the record is scored differently. So your record isn't just, well, you won this tournament, so that means you're 1-0. Your record is everyone you beat or teams that beat you in a tournament. So if you're playing a tournament with 15 teams and you win that tournament, you're 14-0 that week. So that means you beat everybody there. You're undefeated against that team. So right now, I think Auburn in the last 2 years has only lost to 27 teams in 2 years' time. I think that was the number. So all the tournaments they play, there have been 27 teams that have finished higher than them in any tournament. And so you start putting those numbers up, you give yourself a chance to win each and every time. And so I think they'll have another great opportunity. Obviously, the goal is to qualify from a regional, and playing at home, for Auburn, that should give you a great chance to make it to La Jolla and to have a chance to go out there and see if you can do it again.
Man, it's going to be exciting stuff. Also, some baseball and softball news going on. We're getting into postseason there.
Yeah. Softball a little closer because Vanderbilt doesn't have a softball team in this league. Auburn finishes up the regular season by playing NC State at home this weekend.
Oh, wow.
There's 15 softball teams. So everybody in the league has a team but Vanderbilt. So that means that there's an off week in terms of conference play with the odd number. So Auburn finishes up against NC State, had a big series win against a ranked team last week in South Carolina. So they got a chance to get a little momentum. And I think the wins over South Carolina last week probably wrapped up an NCAA tournament berth for this team because of its RPI and the things it's done. And then from a baseball perspective, you're fighting to see if you can stay in that host bubble that you're in right now. From Auburn, number one strength of schedule in the country, and it's not going to go anywhere because you're playing at Tennessee this weekend, home against South Carolina next week, who South Carolina has struggled, but then you finish at Ole Miss. So you still have 2 road series against top 15 teams left, and you've already played at Georgia. You've already played at Texas. You played LSU at home. So Auburn right now is number 4 in RPI in baseball and number 1 strength of schedule in the country. And so it's just now a matter of, can you win enough games to put yourself in that position? And I think if this team can get to 15-15 in league play, then I think you're probably at a minimum still going to be one of the top 16 host spots, in my opinion.
That's something.
But I think it probably takes you a little bit more to get into the top 8 group. But the goal as you go to Knoxville this weekend for them is find a way to win 1 and then see if you can find a way to win number 2. That's the goal.
Jason Caldwell is with us, auburnundercover.com. A misconception out there is how the transfer portal closed. It closed a little bit less than a week ago. That means everything's done. No, it means that the portal closes for people who are putting their names in. So right now, Auburn knows who they're losing, for the upcoming year. Their roster, they know who is going to be back. What other action can we expect in the portal in terms of players coming in?
Yeah, even that a little bit is a misconception because you could still have a grad transfer that can go in anytime they want to. Yeah. So you kind of have an idea. At least the undergrads that will here for at least another fall. And so they're still. You're right. It's until you get to really classes almost starting. There's never really an end to this. You could add players from the portal, and so. Basketball scheduled to have a visitor this weekend from Louisville as they try to continue to kind of wrap things up. Todd Pettiford kept his name in the NBA draft, which is not a surprise, but I still think most people believe that he will return. And then from a football perspective, I think they feel like, okay, the roster's in pretty good shape, but you're always looking to see if there's somebody you feel like can help you in a situation. I think that'll be the case for football as well.
Jason, obviously a lot of things have changed in college athletics, college football in particular. This time of year with May, it's kind of a slower time. Coaches maybe have a little time off or a little breather, maybe catch their breath, if you will. Are there still things like caravans and traveling tours around the Southeast? I just don't hear as much talk about it, or they're publicizing that, hey, we're going to make 7 or 8 stops around the Southeast and come see the coaches and whatnot and talk some football. Is that still a thing?
Yeah, not as much anymore because the schedule has changed so much. So you start to look at it and go, how does this thing work out? And you look and go, well, it's dramatically different. One of the things is right now is you still have the May evaluation period that's just starting. So these high schools have just started practices. So coaches are on the road a little bit. Next week will really be the busy week because a lot of teams haven't really practiced yet. So there for Auburn coaches, they like to see players on the field. And so you'll have some evaluation period coming up the next couple of weeks. And then the crazy part of this is that this is a time where official visits are now going to happen in May. I think right now, as it stands today, here in 2 weeks, Auburn is scheduled to have more than a dozen official visits for football.
Really?
Yeah. The entire calendar has been blown up and has basically said, oh, that's out the window. So you're looking now, it used to be June was camp time. Well, now May, I think you're looking at like between now and the end of May. So we're talking about the end of this month, Auburn could have almost 30 official visits from a football perspective.
And the weird thing about that is most of these schools are out. I guess there's an interim period or something before summer school. So it's not like a lot's happening on campus to bring these guys in.
Nope. But guys now want to make decisions before their senior years. And now these visits are scheduled during the summer so they can do those things. And so that's why they moved. It wasn't really Big Cat, but they moved Big Cat up, a while to kind of get that in that early April slot window, because if you wait till July, even June right now, half your board may be committed already.
Yeah.
And so now it's turned into, well, May is now official visit time. There'll still be some in June. You'll still have your June camps and those things, but you'll have a ton of official visits that'll happen before this summer even gets started.
There is, and I just want an opinion on this, not necessarily as it relates to Auburn. There is a bill that came up in a State House committee earlier this week from a state representative in Opelika who is wanting to allow Alabama's high school student athletes to sign NIL contracts. I have heard before that, and you may have talked about this before. I know we heard it from somebody reputable that, that some high school prospective student athletes are asking for compensation to go visit officially colleges and stuff like that. Sounds like high school NIL is way over the top, Jason.
It is. The unfortunate part is that when everybody around you is doing those types of things, I think coaches in this state are worried that they're going to lose their top players to other states. I mean, we've already seen it in basketball. The 2 best players in Alabama's 26 basketball class, Caleb Holt's a 5-star, and then had another one, Coleman Landrew from Thompson, both transferred to Georgia to play last year. So it happened after their sophomore years. I think there's concern, and yes, do I think it's necessary? No, I don't. But I do think it's one of those things where you're trying to answer other states around you. Right now, Missouri has one of the craziest ones. Missouri is you can get NIL now as long as you're going to Missouri. So as long as you're staying in states, you can go ahead and start getting NIL. If you're committed to Missouri and that's where you sign, you can go ahead and get NIL money. So basically, they're funneling players to their own state schools by using that as a way to do it. And so it is the world we live in. I can't stand it. But it is part of what right now I think coaches are worried about going, look, we're going to lose all our players to other states if we don't do something in response. Now, the caveat is if you make it true NIL, and I don't know how you do it. The NCAA is trying to do this if they can get this thing passed, where you go, look, it has to be legitimately you're on a billboard, you're helping to market a product for somebody or something. But we know that's not what it's been. What it has been is, hey, we're going to pay you to come play for us, which is not NIL.
You know, Jason, in this state where football is so important, it means so much to so many people. I can't imagine these two schools letting other states do things like that and come in here and raid players within the state of Alabama to go out of state to play. I got to think, and I'm with you. I don't particularly like it either, but you got to play the game these other states are doing. And if you don't, these coaches are probably spitting nails.
Yeah, and then you look at places like, I think it's Arkansas that just said, hey, we're going to make NIL tax-free, tax exempt. Well, if I was a tax-paying citizen in a state like that, I'm not too sure that I'd be really happy about that.
No.
Going, hey, well, what about my wages that I work for every day? Is that not tax exempt too? And so there's a lot of things that have to get fixed in this entire environment. And I mean, look, they've got to do something because, you know, I guess it came out this week that Texas is their football roster is going to be between $35 and $40 million. People are really talking about Ohio State. Theirs was roughly $20 million last year. You're talking about double what that is, $40 million for a college football roster. I don't know. It's going to impact a whole lot of things if it's not fixed soon.
Yes.
One other thing I did want to ask before we let you go, looks like they've completed the new addition in the end zone with the new scoreboard over there. I'm really looking forward to seeing that. That should be great.
Yeah, they have the scoreboard foundation, all those things, and it's the first step in kind of a north end zone renovation. So the scoreboard, the video board up, but people are like, well, it's really high. Yeah, because all that room underneath is going to be used. And so it's going to be used for suites and those kind of things moving forward. And that's how you do it, because at Auburn, like I know a lot of places too, but you know, the waiting list is huge for VIP areas and those types of things. And that's what's been needed for a while. And so you'll add those types of things to this. And hey, we're just talking about it. How do you keep up with the Joneses? Where you create revenue, and Auburn baseball has been able to do that for the first time in adding some VIP areas, and I think it'll pay off down the road. And obviously for football, some of those things are needed as well.
You know, I was looking this morning preparing for our interview on my my profile, my member profile at auburnundercover.com. I have been a member of Auburn Undercover in all the previous incarnations now for 24 years. And and you know, even before with the newsletter and with all of that as well. It's been a great value for me, great help professionally. I love hanging in and checking out everything personally as well. I can personally vouch for the fact it's a great value, Jason, and it's the value's getting better and better because there's more and more content. It seems like every year.
Yeah, no, there's never a downtime, and I kind of laugh, and I've always laughed when folks have said, "Well, you know, now that you know everything's done, you get to the spring, you can take a deep breath." And I'm like, folks, this is the worst time of the year. Fall is the easiest time of the year, without question. It's not even close.
Yeah.
This is the busiest time of the year, and especially now that you added in, you know, the recruiting and the official visits, all the things that are going on, and transfer portal and all that. So, yeah, there's always things going on, always stuff to talk about. And so, yeah, come check us out, auburnundercover.com, part of the 24/7 network. And this will be, as we wrap up baseball season here, sometime here down the road, that will wrap up 25 years for me. And so I'll be heading into year number 26.
How about that?
Wow. Get rolling this fall.
So Barry, you said 24 years, you said?
24 years. Yep.
I became a member on November the 14th of 2005. So I am approaching my 20th year this November. And I've actually used my real name so people know it's me.
There you go.
How about that?
Good stuff, Jason. As always, we do appreciate the content. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Hey, buddy. Thank you so much, Jason Caldwell, Auburn Undercover.
I don't know if I'd do that now.
When you
if I'm you, especially you, I'm coming up with something. Whew.
Yeah, I'm looking at when you mentioned that. I went, wait a minute. How long have I been a member? So I went to the tap my name. I hit my profile. November the 14th. This was like 2 weeks before an Iron Bowl. I thought, let me see what the odds are talking about. I guess that's probably why I subscribed. But yeah, November 14th, 2005 was when I signed up. Been a member ever since. Gold, platinum, double star membership.
He was a member before Philip.
Yeah. How about that?
He was country when country.
Jason Maybe I knew what was coming.
Jason Caldwell joins us coming up in just a couple of minutes, about 5 minutes. Rodney Orr, the Tider Insider, presented by the Destin Connection Seafood Market in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Ford announces employee pricing on every new 24 and most new 25 Fords, and only at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, up to $5,000 below employee pricing, plus no payments for 90 days. From America, for America, at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, home of America's best-selling truck for nearly 50 years in a row, the F-150, with hundreds to choose from. The Ford Escape, the Ford Edge, and the Ford Bronco, all priced at thousands below invoice. And pack up the crew in a Ford Expedition or a Ford Explorer for the beach, the lake, or the big game. It's all at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, where price sells cars.
All right, man, grab a Budweiser and take a knee. It is the best time of the year. It's baseball season. That means sunshine. It means behind-the-back peanut tosses. And it means sharing some cold, frosty Budweisers with your boys. Because there's nothing more American than watching America's game with America's beer. So let me ask you something. Are you ready to bring your A game? Are you ready to cheer every frozen rope down the line and amazing catch at the warning track? Are you ready for pitchers' duels and slugfests? Tell me, are you ready for the thrill of an incredible walk-off victory? I can't hear you. Are you ready for Budweiser and baseball? Then get on your feet, raise an ice-cold Bud, and let's make this season larger than life. Great times are waiting. Get some Bud!
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market offers the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of Mexico with deliveries daily. Snapper, grouper, pompano, flounder, copia, along with medium, large, and jumbo shrimp, hand-picked crab meat, and chucked oysters. They can even cook your order for easy, quick pickup. The Destin Connection can make a po' boy with any of their seafood items that folks in New Orleans rave about. Go by and see them at 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call 288-4272 for pickup orders.
Yep, the Destin Connection about to bring you Rodney Orr, the Tider Insider, exclusively brought to you by those good folks. And hey, if you're hungry today, how about that grilled grouper po' boy? Or you can get maybe a fried po' boy, fried, grouper, if you like that. You can certainly get that as well. Fried shrimp, grilled, fried oyster, po' boy, you name it. It is so good at the Destin Connection Seafood Market, 3750 Norman Bridge Road. You know, I am not a lurker, JD, because I'm actually a paying customer of Auburn Undercover. I don't think that classifies me as a lurker.
Because you couldn't lurk if you didn't pay, though, you know, if you think about it. I don't know.
That there's some free message boards on there that people can go to, but I think as a paying customer, I should not be labeled as a lurker.
Now, what do you think Tobias means here?
Thank
you for the tip, Phantom.
Let me see here. That'll
come later.
Yeah.
That'll come later.
Yeah.
Once again, that worked out.
Yeah, Tobias, let me know what you mean there. I don't know. I'm thinking, well, I've really been kind of promoting you need to give the NBA a chance. It's pretty entertaining, but I know Tobias watches the NBA, so
yes,
I don't think that's it. But if you could clarify that, that'd be great.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah.
Interesting point. I was going to ask Jason this. I know we were running out of time talking about this NIL deal for high school students and whatnot. I've always wondered about this, Barry. What about schools with states with no income tax, state income tax? Florida, Texas are a few. I mean, to me, there again, there's another advantage. It's kind of like these states with lotteries that help the baseball programs out. I mean, when is Alabama going to get off their ass and do something? Boy. I mean, give me a break. I mean, it's state income tax, no lotto, sports wagering. I mean, Missouri's about to be the next state to allow sports wagering. And how many states just in the SEC allow sports wagering besides our lame-ass, slow country bumpkin elected officials up there on Goat Hill? They're getting their pockets lined by out-of-state gaming interest or some native Indian tribe. I mean, give me a
easy here. Deep breath.
I'm telling you, Barry, we're not broke. We're flush with cash down there at the State House because we don't need any other income. We don't need any other sources of income. They're fooling you people. We're not broke. You know, we'll build a prison here and there and repair a bridge and fix the schools, but we ain't broke. Nah, because if we were
fixing the schools, because you go by some of those, and I mean, there's windows broken out in some of the schools, and
that's the only logical explanation I can come up with, Barry, why we don't have any of these things these other states have. Because they fooled us. Our politicians have fooled us. We have got to be flush with cash because we have no desire to find other ways to generate revenue because these politicians are generating revenue their own way. Grease my hand, stuff my pockets, and I'll make sure none of this stuff happens in Alabama, and you guys can get all of our sucker citizens to cross the state line and spend money with you.
Yeah, I tell you what, this is the politician viewpoint. I tell you what, if you make it worth my while, look, you don't have to pay me to vote no on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't have to pay me to vote no. I'll make it to where it never even comes up.
Yeah, it's that simple.
I'll make it to where you can't vote yes or you can't vote no, because we're never going to let the people decide. We're never going to let them.
It's crazy.
Vote.
It is absolutely insane. I don't get it. Tobias, thank you. Yes, we don't want to get ahead of the Phantom's Daily Dog, but I hear you talking.
Yeah.
I'll just say this before we really get into the meat of that. The Phantom's on a little streak, if you hadn't noticed, but we'll get more into that later.
That comes up later. That for sure does. We mentioned the Destin Connection Seafood Market. They're proud to bring you Rodney Orr, the Tider Insider, at TiderInsider.com at this same time every week for years and years and years and years. Rodney, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. How's it going?
Doing
great.
Really,
Hope
really
you're well.
Yeah.
Doing great.
All right, so we're getting to that spring time. May is here, and I'll ask our previous guest. I'll ask you. I'll get your thoughts about it. It seems for years and years and years, Rodney, there was and when May rolled around, there was some Crimson Caravan or some type of rolling show around the country. Heck, they even went to New York and Dallas. I remember when Saban was there and kind of met the fans and had a little fan experience. Those days seem to be over.
You know what? I had totally forgotten about it till you just mentioned it. I mean, I haven't heard anything like it. Usually, you know, a lot of those fans were Tider Insider members. And we would hear them. I mean, we would see them on the forum talking about, I'm going to be on the caravan. And, you know, they would meet each other on that the caravan at some point. But I haven't heard anything about it, John and Barry.
Well, let me ask you about this, because this is something that John brought up yesterday and we've talked about for a couple of days. And just to kind of get your take on it, there was an article yesterday in the Houston Chronicle that cited Texas football, their budget for football players, their budget for talent on the football team for this upcoming year is somewhere in the neighborhood of $35 to $40 million.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know how close it is, but you take the two SEC schools in this state and their budget and combine them, it might be a little bit more than that, just them combined, but not much more. Do you have a sense of just how much more Texas is spending on football than everybody else for their players, for their NIL?
Barry, do you really want to get me started on Texas?
Let's get it going.
I want
early in the call.
You got plenty of time, Rodney. Take your time.
Some of my best friends are Texas fans, okay? Because I grew up there, obviously. They listen to this. So I got to be careful what I say, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're desperate. They are desperate. They're desperate for a championship. Let's just be honest. They're pretty much an underachieving program in terms of what they've won trophies and all of national championships throughout the course of history. When you talk about all the resources that they have, the recruiting, the fertile recruiting ground that they have, it wasn't but a few years ago, John and Barry, and we're just going to be honest here.
Yeah,
they couldn't keep their top players in the state of Texas. Alabama would go take 6 or 7 of their top players away. And really what happened is kind of what you're talking about now. They had to start shelling out a lot of money to keep their players at home. And that's what they did. You remember a few years ago, they were desperately in need of offensive linemen, couldn't get any of them. They were all committed elsewhere. One just got drafted in the first round, Kelvin Banks, and he was committed to Oregon, and they had to start paying him a lot of money to come. So I think you're asking me, how much do they pay? They pay whatever they have to pay.
Right.
I mean,
and Rodney,
I'm just being serious.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I can see those big Texas boosters and those fans. They want a championship, and they're tired of seeing Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State and whoever else winning it, and they don't. It's been a long, long time. So I certainly understand that. And Rodney, if they don't accomplish it this year, I don't think the playoffs enough. They got to win it because they spent all this money. They got the golden child of Arch Manning at quarterback, and their schedule is pathetic. It is weak. They've got the most favorable schedule in the SEC. I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. Tennessee and Texas, 2 of the SEC teams that made the 12-team playoff last year, they both played the 4 worst teams in the SEC, and they're doing it again this year in Arkansas, Mississippi State, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, John. There is no doubt about it. I mean, they went to the semifinals and lost to Kalen DeBoer, who, by the way, is 2-0 against Sark in Texas. In recent years, and they beat Texas with Texas having certainly more potential, greater talent across the board. But with all that said, look, if they don't win this with Arch Manning, and again, I don't know if Arch is as great as everybody's making him out to be, first of all.
It would hard
maybe
to be.
He is. He's a Manning, so I won't certainly discount what he can do. And he was impressive to me in the times I saw him play. So I'm not saying he is or isn't. I don't know. But what I am saying is if they don't win it with him, I'm not sure if they will win it. Sark has everything. They're doing exactly, well, maybe more than Ohio State did in terms of buying the key pieces to win a national championship. And they were on the doorstep last year again. And of course, they got physically beat around by Georgia at home. They got beat by a backup quarterback at Georgia in the SEC championship game. That was an embarrassment. And then they have Ohio State on the brink. I give them credit. And they have a couple of bad play calls down there at the goal line. So they feel like, here's what I'm getting at. They feel like they're right there at that goal line. They feel like that's where they are. They're on the brink of a national championship. So they're going all in to secure that with whatever players they need to get out of the portal. And they've got a ton of defensive linemen. A lot of these top defensive linemen, they've gone in the portal. Texas has grabbed them up. And I'll say this too, just real quickly, give you another example. You guys may remember last year, this past recruiting class, there was a kid out of Georgia. So he's considered the elite defensive lineman in the country named Justice Terry. Well, everyone knew that he was going to eventually end up at Georgia. And he surprised everyone and signed with Texas. And he just flat out said it. He said, nobody else could match the NIL offer that they gave me.
I remember that.
yes, to like I said, you get me started on Texas and we'll keep on, but that's what they're doing. They're desperate for a national championship.
So how do you combat that?
I don't know.
If you're Alabama.
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, I think, Alabama, the way they're doing it, the way DeBoer is doing it, it's impressive. I will say this. Now, yes, they did lose some guys in the portal in the first go round back in January, but I don't think I'd have to think about it to think about if they really lost anybody that maybe they wanted to keep. But with that said, they didn't lose anybody in this portal. And Kalen DeBoer's philosophy is this, and it's a little bit like Dabo's. I'm not saying completely, but it's reminds me a little bit of Dabo in that we're going to evaluate players in high school. We're going to recruit them, make sure they're a fit, bring them in here, develop them, and then retain them. And the culture that we have here is going to be kind of a major part of our retention process because these guys there's a trust that's developed between the coaches and the players. And I think you feel that, you see that. And you want to develop those guys and then use the portal to get guys that, just fill in here and there. In other words, let me just say this. Oh, so you could look at, let's just take offensive tackle, for example. Alabama probably needed another offensive tackle in the portal because you got two. You got Proctor, you got Wilkin-Formby that they feel comfortable with.
Right.
All right. They probably needed another one. Although they did, get a guy that was a developmental guy. But you didn't see them out there chasing a big name guy.
Right.
Now, in the past, they might have done that. If we're going to bring in a guy, we want to bring in a guy that could challenge at right tackle or left tackle. And I think they just really, if they would have brought somebody in, it would have been a guy that they knew they could plug in, kind of like a Geno Vandermark on the interior part of the offensive line. The way he's filled in and been a swing guy.
Your thoughts about Alabama in the draft last week? Tyler Booker going to the Cowboys, Jihad Campbell going to the Eagles, Jalen Milroe in the third round to the Seattle Seahawks.
I think it's a great fit for Booker. I mean, I hope the Cowboys continue to, I hope they, certainly upgrade what they've done in the past few years. But I think he was a really good pick in that direction because Tyler Booker is a complete overall player package in terms of on and off the field. He certainly, I think he was the best leader they had this last year. I think Tyler Booker was the glue to me. That's just me. And they had some guys, behind him, but when it came down to kind of taking over that locker room, my understanding is Tyler Booker told people to sit down and stand up, and
yeah.
So I like Tyler Booker. And then Jihad Campbell probably went a little bit lower than what I expected, 31. But I think part of that might have been due to the injuries that he's had. I think he's got a shoulder. He may have two shoulder injuries. And somebody mentioned it. Now, again, I don't know this, but there was speculation about some sort of a knee injury that might need some time as well. But I mean, look, the Eagles do a fantastic job of evaluating these guys. I mean, he's going to a perfect fit for him. Now, as far as Milroe's concerned, I think it's a great fit for him. I thought he might go a little higher simply because of his great athleticism, and the things that you can do with him. But he's not a guy, as you guys know, he's not a guy that you want to come in and play day one. It's going to take some time with him. So I think they want to build his confidence and start building something that, he can do. And maybe eventually he gets a great opportunity there in Seattle. But I think it's a good fit for him because McDonald and, the staff they have there, they've got a lot of experience with his kind of athletic style quarterback.
Let me piggyback off that question, Rodney. Will Alabama's streak of first-round draft picks continue in 2026 for 18 years in a row?
I think so. I mean, a lot of it's going to depend. I mean, I think and I'd have to even see because you never know who might go early or whatever. But I mean, I think if Caden Proctor, if he has the kind of year he should have, he's got a chance to crack that first round somewhere. I saw somewhere yesterday, Pro Football Focus had him the #1 overall pick next year. I don't believe that. I don't, and I'm not laughing snidely or whatever, but it's right now I'd be hard pressed to see him as the #1 overall. But I think Caden Proctor's a guy, and again, I'd have to think about some others that potentially could be. Now, I'll tell you, the guy that I doubt it, but Parker Brailsford might be the best center in the nation. So, and again, I'm not saying first round, but probably not. And then defensively, LT Overton, the defensive end, has been mentioned as a potential first round pick. In the secondary, man, I don't know, Damani Jackson at corner. So I'm just trying to rattle my brain. I don't want to keep doing that, but again, I think so, John. Just to answer your question, I think it'll continue.
Oh, you mentioned Parker Brailsford at center. I've been impressed with him. Just his consistency. I mean, it's hard for a center to be flashy. He reminds me a lot of. Well, let me back. You've got a lot of guys. You mentioned Gino Vandemark, and also, the Scandinavian guy. I can't think of his name.
Lennon.
Yeah, Olafs. Those guys on the interior, especially, remind me. They ask a lot of them, kind of like they used to ask Barrett Jones, who was so proficient at it. You've got to have those guys, particularly in the middle, that can play 2 or 3 different positions. They want some versatility among the offensive line, but Brailsford in the middle is solid as a rock, right?
Yeah, I think they like I said, I think a lot of people think Brailsford might be the best center in college football next year, at least heading into the year.
He just handles his business, I mean,
yeah,
there's nothing
really
super
good.
flashy about him, but he doesn't make any mistakes.
Well,
and
Barry, look, I mean, again, he's a little bit like Dwight Stevenson was back in the day.
Oh,
in
wow.
other words, he was a little undersized. He's gotten bigger now. He's gotten bigger, and he's probably pushing 300, where he was maybe 270 when he got here. So he's definitely over 290 now, or was this past season. But he's a guy that just technically smart, sound, gets his body in great position, knows how to play with leverage, those types of things. I mean, it's just he's technically very, very sound, and he's strong. He would surprise you, and this is coming from inside the building here, that he's one of the pound for pound. He is one of the strongest guys they've got in this program. So, yes, Parker Brailsford's very, very important to this offensive line.
Whew, man, sounds like it. Okay, Rodney, tonight inside Coleman Coliseum, the President of the United States will be there to offer the commencement address. Also, the GOAT will be there as well, Nick Saban. Which of those two gets the loudest and longest ovation?
Don't ask.
That one should be really interesting, John. I don't know. We ought to take some bets on that. How about that?
Yeah, I'm sure you probably can. It's in another state.
Yeah, get one of those best decibel level things. Yeah.
Hey, that one should be interesting. That's a great question, because I think both of them might lift they wanted a new arena over there. That roof might come down tonight or whenever it is.
Yeah. Rodney, I saw Ronald Reagan in Coleman Coliseum in 85 or 6. He came to speak. It was in the morning. It was around 9:30. I wonder if
I remember that. John, wasn't that the 84 election when
I believe it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so. And I'm wondering if there's been any other sitting president that's come to Tuscaloosa since Reagan. Obviously Trump came to the football games, but to an event like that.
Yeah.
Listen, here's the thing. You talk about that Reagan speech. You're right, John. I listened. That was on the radio. I was in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, I went. I was able to get in and steam. Yeah.
Well, if you remember, Bama was struggling a little bit on the field in '84. They finished 5-6, but they're struggling on the field. He comes in and speaks right after they beat Penn State here in Tuscaloosa. And he walks out and he says, I understand you tamed some lions here last Saturday. And that crowd just erupted. He knew what to say. And I'm sure Trump will have something as well. But no, I remember that. That was you just jogged my memory.
Yeah.
Well, the convocation or whatever, the ceremony will schedule begin tonight at 6:30. John, gates open at 3. I imagine you better get there early. Yes.
Yep. What do you think the not only the traffic, but I mean it's going to be shut down over there?
No question. Yikes.
Yeah. No doubt about it. I'll be interested, Rodney, to see how much he talks about, to the graduates and their future and what they've done, or is he going to start talking about stuff he's done? I think we're going to get a little of both.
I think so. This is all great stuff. Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com. Even though we're in
one other opinion question. Now that we're on this, before we let you go, because Barry and I talked about this yesterday.
Okay.
You ever think Nick Saban would be a politician? We brought it up because there's a lot of talk about.
I don't think he could do it, John.
Yeah,
I thought about that. That is a tremendous question. So go ahead and ring the bell. Where's Killer? Where's Killer when you need him?
That's right.
No kidding.
But that's a great question. But I would say this: I don't think he could do it.
Yeah,
because he can't. He is so. This is the way it's going to be, and it's always been that way for him. Charles in charge. I think that's part of the reason why he's not still coaching.
Yeah.
He just can't control things like he used to.
That's what I said yesterday. Politics is the art of the compromise.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's a great compromiser.
No.
I can see Tuberville wanting to get out of D.C. and try to be the governor. I mean, it's a different game. I get that. And you're right. I couldn't see Saban in D.C. haggling it out with all those other people in Congress. No way.
No. Is he a great leader on that level? Absolutely.
No question.
Absolutely.
No question. Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com. His visits brought to you by the Destin Connection Seafood Market. Rodney, even though we're in May, getting into the summer, still a lot going on the website. Tell people how they can join in.
Right. It's TiderInsider.com. It's only $48 a year. And you can get instant access with your credit card, or if you prefer, there's an address there to send a check, gives you all our premium information, but also our all sports forum. That's our community there of Alabama fans. That's where all the action really happens. And it's nonstop there on TiderInsider.com. And like you said, John and Barry, it slows down a little bit. You guys know how it is this time of year.
Yeah.
But you wait till come SEC media days and things start picking up in August. We'll be there before you know it.
Yeah.
Cannot wait. But Rodney, we love the summer, so we can go down memory lane of Alabama athletics.
Oh, that's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, that's my favorite part.
Yeah, I love it too. It is awesome.
Good stuff. Thank you very
Rodney.
much. Have a great day.
Okay, guys. Take care.
You too, buddy. Great segment as always with our man Rodney Orr, the Tider Insider, brought to you exclusively by our friends at the Destin Connection Seafood Market, the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of America each and every day. Go by and check them out, 3750 Norman Bridge Road, or call ahead. Your order will be ready for pickup at 288-4272. Well, it's the freshest seafood in town. So many restaurants utilize Destin Connection because of that fact, and you can as well. Whether you want to go pick something out at the showcase, or you want to call ahead and have them prepare it for you like he does with that grilled grouper po' boy, you can't go wrong. The Destin Connection Seafood Market.
All right, still to come on the program as we roll right on through on the show. Phantom's Daily Dog coming up in just moments.
Is it? Oh, is it? Is that
it's coming up. We're right
okay.
on schedule. And then the Gurn Jr. Victoryland Topic Wheel, which always is good. There should be some good ones today.
Were there, to your knowledge, were there any fights in professional sports last night? Because, man, we've been seeing the fights on the clips lately.
Gern doesn't mind getting a video or two of those every once in a while. Might
Love
be
the
on
fights.
there. It's coming up. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the River Bank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to banking above and beyond at River Bank and Trust. Locations throughout the River region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. River Bank and Trust. All righty, welcome back in, everybody. Glad you are with us here today. About 26 minutes past the hour. Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy, in association with our good friends at Yellowhammer News. You can check it out. Check us out at yellowhammernews.com. Check out the video content. Check out a write-up about what we did here on the program today. Also, you can check us out on Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, Spotify. And, man, it is just the way to go. You can't beat it.
I keep thinking there's another one or two in there because we're on everything. We're everywhere. We're like Kevin Hart. You know, we're on everything all the time, all over the place. But, yeah, all of those John's got is exactly right. And we always encourage you to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and be a part of it that way. Well, it is.
I wanted to mention, it is the month of May.
Yes.
I was out at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry yesterday. Marianne and the group just doing a fantastic job. A lot of people in the store checking things out. Today is May the 1st. There's a lot of things that go on in May.
Yes.
Like emeralds. Not the chef.
No.
Not the 5-star TV chef. We're talking about the piece of jewelry that's on a ring or a necklace or a bracelet. They're usually green.
They are
Emerald.
They are the birthstone.
Yeah.
For the month of May. May is famous at Marguerite's because it's Earring Fest in the month of May. Every May, their Earring Fest always draws attention. Half-carat diamond studs, $199. You can trade up. If you've got earrings that have been collecting dust or anything, you can trade up for new chic earrings as well. 1-carat diamond studs, just $399. All of May, it's Earring Fest at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. Guys, you might not know if she likes a brooch or if she likes a certain type of bracelet, but every girl loves earrings.
They do.
This is your
As a matter of fact, Barry, we were in a state of panic here at my house. My wife misplaced a pair of earrings that she cannot find. She said, I had them on Friday night. I remember taking them off and putting them in my little jewelry box. Cannot find them. I said, are you sure you put them in the jewelry box? We ended up finding them, but boy, whew, I mean, panic city.
See,
so you don't want that to happen.
There's a couple of things. And again, Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, Pepper Tree Center next to Chappie's Deli, 8163 Vaughn Road in Montgomery, Alabama. The month of May, Earring Fest, all May. We're going to visit with Marianne a little bit later on
Also,
in the week.
Graduations, high school and college.
Yes.
Mother's Day also is in May. So, hey, be getting ready at Marguerite's.
Well, yeah, but you're talking about these are things that women love for you to do. John and I are big fans of women. You know, we are. We've always enjoyed the company of some wonderful women, and there's a couple of things that women love that guys can say that women just absolutely love. And John hit on one right there. When she can't find something and she's panicky a little bit. I'm not talking about John's wife specifically, but when your wife or your loved one, when she's lost something and she's panicky and she's scrambling around and fumbling around and she says, I know I had it in the jewelry case. Here's what she loves for the guy in her life to say. Are you sure you left it in the jewelry case? Women love it when you say that. That's always,
I know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That, you know,
I got that look. Yeah.
Here's another one. Here's another one that they love. When they cook something, not something special, you know, but when they cook something at night and, you know, she brings it out and, you know, you love her for it and for all of the work that she does. And you say, oh, these green beans are interesting. My mom makes them like this, and I really like it when she makes. Women love it when you say, "Oh, my mom does it this way."
Don't do that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, do not say
that stuff.
Yeah, you're right. The second I said, "Are you sure you put them there?" Oh, that ain't good.
At least the side eye. You at least get the side eye on
that's
there.
not good. Okay. So, Barry, before I get to the Daily Dog, I get some information from Local Man.
All right.
Local Man.
Hang on. Here we go.
Yeah. So, you know, Barry, for the Super Bowl.
Right.
For the Super Bowl, they have a wager for how long the national anthem will last.
Crazy.
I'm posing the question, who gets the longest ovation tonight inside Coleman Coliseum? President Donald Trump or the GOAT, Nick Saban? They'll both be there on the stage for the commencement exercises in Alabama.
Saban's supposed to speak.
Yes.
I mean, he's not just up there.
So, who gets the longest ovation tonight? Donald Trump or Nick Saban? Saban is at -120. Trump is at even money. The odds say Nick Saban gets the longer ovation than Donald Trump at the University of Alabama commencement exercises tonight at 6:30. I don't know if you could watch this thing online or streaming.
Oh, that's got to be on. That's got to be on Fox. Or something. You know, somebody's got to carry that live, right?
I'm thinking, you know,
Saban's going to get if you didn't pay whatever it takes to carry that baby live.
Lives in Tuscaloosa. He's had a lot of ovations. I think I'm taking Trump at even money to get the longer ovation tonight.
I would like to be, if the world, I would like to know what it's like to be that first student from the School of Arts and Sciences to get their degree, and their name is like Abraham Aaron or something like that.
Yeah.
First one in the list.
Yeah.
You know, Trump said what he said. Saban said, Trump ain't going to be standing in that convocation line. Like whoever that person is going to get their name called in the School of Arts and Sciences, Bachelor of Arts degree in philosophy, Abraham Aaron. And he gets his degree, picture with Dr. Bell, walks across. shakes hands with Saban, shakes hands with Trump. That ain't happening.
Yeah,
Trump and Saban, neither one of them are shaking hands with 4,200 graduates.
No way. They're once they speak, they're done. And I got to think they probably let Saban, and this is another reason he wouldn't get into politics. Coach, you need to limit your remarks. I mean, 3 minutes tops. But, you know, the president doesn't want to be hearing what you got to say, and he don't want to be waiting around. So short and sweet, move on.
They got to give him some leeway, because he's going to get about 45 seconds of ovation before he even starts speaking. And Trump isn't going to like that, right?
No,
he isn't going to like if somebody else gets a bigger ovation than him.
I just hope, Barry, that's one of his advisors lets him know it's not Lou Saban, it's Nick Saban.
That was pretty funny. Oh, Lou Saban, the Alabama coach, he's done some great things. Believe me, if it had been the other way around, we'd be hearing that over and over again. Auburn had a basketball coach named Tony Barbie in a Jefferson Pilot basketball telecast or something like that. Dave Neal called him Tony Barbie. That has lasted 15 years. Believe me, if it had been the other way and President Trump had called Nick Saban Lou Saban, and Saban had been like the coach of somewhere else, never hear the end of it. But it vanished like a you-know-what in the wind. Anyway.
Yeah, it was.
All right.
Okay, let's just real
That's
quick.
not the Phantom's dog of the day.
No,
the Phantom is not going against the what?
That's just that's a TV opinion. I'm taking Trump at even money instead of Saban at minus 120.
20.
Yeah. All right. Last night, Barry, we had a game that was in the Staples Center. Is it still called the Staples Center out there in LA where the Lakers play?
It is. Yes, it is.
It was elimination time for the Lakers, and as we said yesterday, the world is on the Lakers. No way they're going to get eliminated. Can't happen. I know they're a big favorite. They're down in this series, but they're going to blow the T-Wolves out. Not so fast, because the Phantom said, don't see it that way. Could see the T-Wolves winning the game and eliminating the Lakers and moving on, but hey, we're catching 6.5. We're going to take it. Didn't need it, as the Timberwolves win the game outright. 103-96 to eliminate the Lakers and to get a win for the Phantom, and they move on. The Timberwolves, I'm telling you, we touched on this probably last week. There's some of these teams here, Barry, people are overlooking, and the Timberwolves are one of them. They're pretty dadgum good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like him a lot. Anthony Edwards, those guys. This, I believe, I don't know gambling parlance and verbiage well at all, but in the Phantom's behalf, I believe this is called a streak. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
I mean, you know, for our Spanish-speaking viewers, I believe the Phantom would be termed as en fuego right now.
Yeah.
Because I know he got the Houston +4 the night before.
Yeah.
I know he got the one the night before that.
And the night before that.
And the night before that. And he got it last night, too. Minnesota plus the 6.5. Didn't need a bit of them. They won the game.
Won the game outright. So I'm looking, I guess the Timberwolves are going to meet the winner of I'm not sure. Is it the Clipper Nugget series or the Warrior Rocket series? They'll face the winner of one of those series coming out of the West. I'm just not real sure which one. I have to look at the bracket. But needless to say, they're pretty dadgum good. So watch out for them.
Yeah, and they got a little bit of a break.
Yeah, they
do. I want to say before they play. We'll check on that.
I think they don't play until maybe Tuesday again, Monday or Tuesday. Depends on, like I said, depends on what these other series are doing.
That is correct.
Both of those in the Western Conference are knotted up. Both of them are 3-2. Denver leads 3-2 over the Clippers, and Golden State leads 3-2 over
the Rockets.
So could be soon. You never know. But we like the T-Wolves. So we're going into tonight.
Yeah, the NBA has been very, very good to the Phantom in the playoffs.
And we're not going to go into this, we've hit 4 in a row, or we're guaranteed a winning week. You know, Barry, what happened then, that doesn't really have any bearing on what's going to happen tonight. And that's what you got to look for. It's kind of nice to have that in your back pocket, but we're zeroed in on tonight. 2 games. New York, the Knicks at Detroit, 6:30 on TNT. Detroit's a 1.5-point favorite there.
He was dead on Detroit. That was the other one that I wrote down that I didn't pick. He was dead on Detroit last time, plus the 5.5. By the way,
that
was Monday night.
I think it's what was it? Cam Cunningham pumping in 24.
Yeah, Cade Cunningham. He was great. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also tonight at 9 o'clock on TNT, it is the Denver Nuggets at the LA Clippers. The Nuggets lead this series 3-2. The Clippers are laying 6.5. Wow.
I got. Yeah.
So it's kind of a desperation game for the Clippers here. Don't want to get eliminated. Nuggets win, they're out. Kind of like the Lakers last night. Could the 2 LA teams be out by the weekend?
Could they both? The Lakers, not only are they out last night, they got eliminated at home.
Yes.
The Clippers are playing at home tonight at the Intuit Center.
Barry, could we have back-to-back nights that LA teams get eliminated from the NBA playoffs? Stranger things have happened.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Stranger things have happened, but, I mean, the Clippers winning this game, and I'm looking at wagertalk.com. I'm looking at all the updated numbers. So the best number I see at Bally's and FanDuel is the Nuggets catching, also at BetMGM, +7. So I'm catching a full touchdown if I take the Denver Nuggets tonight at the LA Clippers. Okay, the Clippers might win the game and extend this series on. Maybe they won't.
Maybe, yeah.
Kind of like their brothers down the street, the Lakers that got eliminated. But we're going to grab the 7 here, Barry, in a game we believe will be played very close. And we see the Nuggets, they might not win, hate it for them. But if they're going to cover, and that's where we're in it, we want the 7 and the Nuggets tonight at the Clippers. Grab the full touchdown. The touchdown and the extra point.
Love it. Love it. Very strong. That's the Phantoms' dog of the day. Coming up, our Victoryland 777 Gurn Jr. Topic Wheel is next with Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Hey, Marianne is joining me from Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry in Pepper Tree on Vaughn Road. And Marianne, the month of May is here. So many great things going on. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that it's May already. So many exciting things. We've got Mother's Day, graduations, weddings, showers, you name it. In May, we've got it. It's a jam-packed holiday-filled month, and we are ready to go to help you at Marguerite's because it is Earring Fest coupled with the rest of that. So what better way to help celebrate the lady in your life or the person in your life than beautiful earrings? Because, earrings, you don't have to worry about what size. They all fit.
They do all fit. You're right about that. With Mother's Day fast approaching, Earring Fest would be a great way to show Mom how much you appreciate her and love her, and so many different earring styles to choose from. Graduation gifts for the high school and college graduate as well. May seems to be a month that people like to pop the question as well. So you got that going on. And we can't forget, Marianne, Birthstone Emerald. I think I'm right on that for May.
Great job. Yes. I almost forgot. How dare I? Yes. Well played there, sir. It is emerald. So beautiful gemstone, lots of beautiful hues of green. We've got them in store at Marguerite's. Earrings, necklaces, rings, you've got it. So for all the May babies out there, you've got a great birthstone. Make sure that the person you love knows that you love those beautiful green emeralds.
Well, we know Marguerite's is open 7 days a week. Tell us where you're located and your hours of operation.
Sure. We're at 8163 Vaughn Road in the Pepper Tree Shopping Center, 7 days a week, 10 to 5:30 Monday through Friday, 10 to 5 on Saturday, and noon to 5 on Sunday.
May is going to be fantastic at Marguerite's. Make sure you go by and see them. Thank you so much, Marianne.
Thanks.
Okay, here we are back at it, about 16 minutes to the top of the hour. Before we get to the wheelbarrow, there's a story that has been dominating the national news, national sports news, really, but I've noticed that the news outlets are getting in on it as well, involving Bill Belichick. I know we haven't touched on this yet. He was interviewed by CBS, I believe. And
yes, CBS this morning. It wasn't even like 60 Minutes or anything like that.
Yeah, some Sunday morning show, I believe.
Yeah.
Look, I know Belichick was the coach of the Patriots and they won Super Bowls, but he wasn't the easiest person to deal with. Didn't really like the media very much. Some downright rude to him. But he's got this little friend of his, female companionship. And look, my wife's younger than me. She's not 50 years younger than me, but she's younger than I am.
Yeah, mine is too. Mine's younger than me.
And I'm thinking, what is this guy got a woman that's 50 years younger than he is? And she's running the show, basically, telling people what they can and cannot ask Belichick. If I'm the University of North Carolina, am I there again, buyer's remorse? Am I thinking, what in the world have we gotten ourselves into? Is this what we want? Because the nation has been running this woman through the ringer. And Belichick, too.
She's 24 years old, and I'm not getting into the personal relationship aspect of it. He is a lot older than she is. She's very young. She's very pretty. And she's doing a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. She doesn't have a job there, but she is constantly like emailing the North Carolina athletics media relations staff and saying, when Belichick hired his son Steve as the defense coordinator, we need to stay away from this. We need to make sure we stay positive with Steve and, cite his. And I'm thinking, what in the world is they taking orders from her for, aside from all that stuff? Well, anyway, he was to be interviewed by by CBS this morning. He's got a book that's coming out, and he is saying that was his understanding, was that, they were going to interview him on camera about the book. But, I mean, back in the background was his girlfriend, and she was saying, no, don't ask that. Don't ask about our relationship, this and that and all this. But they ended up cutting the interview short. And Belichick says that he cut it short because they were asking him questions that were not agreed upon beforehand. He issued a statement through North Carolina that says, it was our understanding that we were conducting the interview to promote our book, and when it came down and questions outside of it, we didn't feel comfortable. We weren't aware of it, that they were going to do that, and so we cut it short. Well, CBS News says, when we agreed to speak with Mr. Belichick, it was for a wide-ranging interview. There were no preconditions or limitations to this conversation. This was confirmed repeatedly with his publisher before the interview took place and after it was completed. Now, this is the deal. And there's a great piece, and I'm trying to find it, where they were kind of going over the timeline of the Belichick hire. I want to say it was the New York Times. I could be wrong. They had actually talked with John Sumrall, the athletic director. His name's Bubba Cunningham. Had actually talked with John Sumrall, great friend of mine, down in New Orleans. He was a guy that Cunningham, the AD, was interested in. But one of the heavy hitters in politics in North Carolina, I think it was a United States senator, got word that Belichick was interested. And so he got his guys to go talk with Belichick and everything, unbeknownst to the athletic director. Belichick was interested, according to this article, because he was in the mix with 6 openings in the NFL, and nobody wanted to talk with him anymore in the NFL. He wasn't going to get a job in the NFL. So he decided, he'd give a shot at college. And he's gotten a lot of interest, a lot of press about North Carolina. But they're getting
my thing is
John.
Is this the kind of press North Carolina wants?
No.
Is this what this athletic director wants? That this little 23-year-old is running the show. She's the one laying down the law. And Belichick's just kind of a figurehead. I mean, I kind of get the sense, Barry, this is already worn out. And if Belichick goes 500, he's gone.
It ain't worth it. Yeah.
I just don't think this is I didn't think it was a good decision from the get-go. I think they're finding out quickly it's a terrible decision. And there again, I don't see this ending well.
Again, above and beyond the relationship with the young lady, that's none of our business, but I don't think that they being North Carolina, anticipated that she would have a role in dictating what university policy is. She's 24 years old. Sure, I mean, Chad Baker-Mazara's 3 years older than she is, and he's still in college.
That's the look that a school like North Carolina wants.
No,
they don't like that look at all.
Okay.
All right, let's get the Victorland 777 topic wheel ready to go. I see Gurn has got it in the window. We're ready to pull it up and see what is on the Victorland 777 topic wheel, where you can be a winner to exit 22 off I-85 in Shorter, Alabama. All right, let's spin it, Gurn. Got 10 full minutes to devote to the wheel. This is awesome. What does that say? Oh,
headbutt.
All right.
Headbutt.
Oh, this could be good.
And boy, a night that looked like it was going to be a huge blowout.
Oh, got him.
Oh, was that really a headbutt? That was kind of
Jackson
a tap.
Davis.
He's a lot shorter than the other guy. It's like a chin butt.
Yeah.
This is Warriors-Rockets. Game 5 yesterday. Warriors-Rockets got ejected. The Warriors player, the short guy, Pat Spencer. Pat Spencer? The only thing I know about Spencer's is that was the go-to when I was in high school and college, to go back there and flip through the posters. And they always had fart spray.
They did. It was fart in a can. That's what it was called. Yeah.
Yep. Now, Game 5, Rockets win. They win big. They're up 30 in the third quarter. Steve Kerr and the Rockets head coach pulled their starters. They already knew. Look, Rockets said, we're going to rest our guys. Obviously, we're not going to win this one. So anyway, a bunch of scrubs. Warriors guard Pat Spencer, Houston guard Dylan Brooks got into a little bit of a tussle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, Brooks ended up on the ground. It was Alperen Sengun who got up in Pat Spencer's face. And Spencer, this is how you know Spencer is a scrub. He wears number 61.
Oh, yeah. How do you call a foul on that guy?
And he headbutted him right in the face.
61.
Got ejected.
So
that
here's
was
the deal.
Only thing interesting after the third quarter.
So here's the deal. I know these guys have got egos and they're trying to be tough guy. That's a perfect opportunity to flop. You get the headbutt, you just wail out on the floor. You know, if you could get a little blood going, that'd be great. But that's a perfect flop situation.
And you're talking to a master.
Yeah.
You know, we could talk to Bob about Bob Ross. Can't talk to him anymore because he's dead. You can talk about Bob Ross and landscapes. You can talk about Warren Buffett and investing, or you could talk to John about drawing fouls and flopping and stuff like that. A true master in the art.
My favorite, Barry, was when it was there was a lot of motion, you know, and the player is moving fast, and you kind of step in and he runs you over and you kind of backpedal like you've lost your balance, and then you hit the floor. That's the expanded flop. I mean, your arms are wailing, you're trying to catch your balance. Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a good headbutt in the NBA.
Love it. All right. See what you're missing, folks? Not watching the NBA? Right. All right, spin the Victorland 777 topic wheel. Let's see what we got going on. You can be a winner, too.
Yamal
be there? Now let's see. First one.
This is Lamine Yamal. The kid is, now I know about him. The kid's like, what is he, 17 years old or something. He's from Spain. And he is all that.
What sport does he play?
He's soccer
Okay.
or football over there.
Okay. Yeah, you've lost me then.
He plays
Yeah,
for
soccer.
Barcelona.
Yeah.
He's 17, dribbles it well. I can't really, let's see. I can't really read that, but anyway, I know who he is. He's a kid, and he is really good. He is the new Messi.
Right.
He's the new Ronaldo, Mbappe, those guys. This kid is the guy right here. He's something.
A little
Good
trivia, Barry. He plays for Barcelona, you said?
Yes. Right.
Do you remember the name of the world football team in Barcelona, what their mascot was?
The Barcelona, were they the Dragons?
The Dragons. They sure were.
I remember you had the
Dragons.
Frankfurt Galaxy.
Uh-huh.
You had the Scottish Claymores.
Yeah, I think you're right.
What the
London
heck is
Monarchs.
that?
How about the London Monarchs?
Yeah, London Monarchs. Good get there. Stuff
Birmingham,
like that.
Birmingham Fire.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
John used to dabble
Sure did. Heck yeah, they're playing, aren't they?
in the World League of American Football.
All right, Gern, let's spin it again. Chris does not think we can complete the wheel by the top of the hour.
I don't think so either. We better hustle.
I disagree, Chris. I think we can.
All right.
What is this one?
Ooh, that's teeny tiny.
Yeah, it is. Oh, swimmer. I like swimmers.
Yeah.
Katie Latke.
Katie Ledecky.
Ledecky. Okay, I couldn't read that
Second
either.
fastest 1,500-meter freestyle time in women's swimming history. Ledecky's she's been in 4 Olympics. She's got to be like ancient for a swimmer.
You know, Barry, when I
she
see
probably swam when David Marsh was coaching swimming at Auburn.
Yeah,
He's been
no
out for a
kidding.
while.
Yeah. So at least she's not East German and there's hair underneath those arms. They used to gross me out as a kid watching the Olympics. Those East German women going, ugh.
Because they'd wave afterwards and everything.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
So when I see a headline like that, Barry, you know me, the first thing I'm thinking is, well, then who's got the fastest time?
She probably got that one too.
Don't give me a headline that's second fastest.
Second fastest.
Come on.
Yep.
What did I say? Second fastest, first loser.
That's exactly right. This was in Fort Lauderdale yesterday. She's 28 now. She's been swimming for a long time. 1,500 meters, 15 minutes, 24.51. That's her fastest since setting the world record in 2018. She beat the runner-up in that final, in that swimming event, by 40 seconds.
Whoa.
40 seconds. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Got to keep on pace here.
We got to keep going. Let's go, Gern. Let's
here we
spin the wheel here on a Thursday. Exit 22 off I-85. That's where you'll find Victoryland, where you can be a winner, too. And the Troy Trojans.
Oh, yeah.
It's landed on them. A lot going on down there in Troy. Tell us about it.
Couple of things real quick. This is the bullet deadline. Today is the final day for you to be able to get your season tickets or renew your season tickets and still be eligible for that Larry Blakeney bobblehead doll to commemorate his inclusion in the College Football Hall of Fame. We mentioned yesterday, men's golf, they like Auburn. Auburn's hosting the number 1 seed in the tournament. Troy is in the NCAA golf tournament. They will play in a couple of weeks in Champaign-Urbana, Illinois.
Oh, wow.
Troy baseball on the road at South Alabama. We're leaving this afternoon for Mobile. Softball hosting South Alabama tonight, beginning at 6 o'clock in the first of 3 games. And also coming up, it is the Jared Parker Golf Tournament, which is going to be at Wind Lakes in Montgomery. You need to make sure that you are a part of that. That is going to be coming up May the 12th. To all the proceeds benefit, the football program. 2 different flights for that one. It's Monday, May 12th, tee times at 8 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. Registration available online, TroyTrojans.com/Parker Golf.
There you have it, man. Got that done. Man, that was awesome. All right, Gern, let's see if we can spin it again. Here we go. See what we got. Victoryland 777 topic wheel, 2 left before the end of the show, possibly. Who's your horse? Barry, the Kentucky Derby is this weekend, I believe.
Have you ever had a mint julep before?
I have. As a matter of fact, Barry, I had a mint julep at Gurn Jr.'s parents' home years ago.
One?
No, had more than one, and they were really, really, really good. Is this a sporting event or just a social event where you can bet? I've always wondered about that.
Yep. So they've got the odds out. There are the Kentucky Derby odds and the post positions. I don't ever bet, obviously. I'm just there for the horses' names. They don't have names anymore like Dobbin or Paint or anything like that. It's like Final Gambit, American Promise.
How about Journalism at 3-1? That's an interesting name for a horse.
Journalism?
In the 8th spot.
That's not even a real field anymore.
No kidding.
Grande, Luxor Cafe, Admire, Daytona at 40-1.
Rodriguez, where's that horse from?
Probably the Bronx. Citizen Bull, number 1 post position with odds at 17-1. There you go.
You don't want to be on the outside gates. You want to be in the middle, I've told. You don't want to be on those out. You get kind of pinched when you're on the outside gates.
Yeah.
All right, let's try to spin it one more time and get this last topic. Got to be official.
Sandman is in it.
Sandman. Oh, heck yeah.
Okay.
This must be something to do with France. Lagon.
No, let's see. Yep. LeBron, his teams have now been, he used to be in the NBA Finals every year for like 8 straight years. His teams have now been gone in the playoffs within the first 5 games of a playoff series 3 straight times now. Is he done? Is he finished? Is he finished in Los Angeles? What's the deal? He says, quote, I don't know the answer to that right now, to be honest. So we'll see as far as, how much longer he's going to play. He says, I don't know.
Barry, I don't usually watch a lot of this stuff, but I got a pretty good feeling that the national sports, radio, and television shows throughout the day today are not going to be talking about the games tonight, not going to be talking about the teams that won. It'll be dominated about the future of LeBron.
I'll miss it. I'll miss that.
I'll miss it too, but I'm just telling you that's what they're going to be talking about. Stephen A. today, all he's going to talk about is LeBron over. Well, what about the Timberwolves? Well, who cares? Is LeBron still playing? That's a shame.
All I want to know tomorrow morning is what Saban said and how big of an ovation he had.
We will report on that. You'll be in Mobile, as you mentioned, with Troy. Yep. I'll be at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, where Price sells cars. It is, I'm telling you, May, spring into savings at Stivers in Montgomery. We'll tell you all about that.
Yep.
Big show for you tomorrow here on the program. And we are certainly looking forward to it. Thanks to our guest today, Jason Caldwell, Auburn Undercover, Rodney Orr, the Tider Insider.
Yes, for Gurn Jr., our extraordinary producer, and for John Longshore, I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.